Oh. Okay. Good morning, everybody. I'm Mr. Guerillon. I'm in charge of presenting you HV grid monitoring. During the next 10 minutes, we are going to talk about HV grid monitoring. We know grid building, of course, control and command, of course, but what about grid monitoring? And more especially, automated fault analysis system. What is the interest of this kind of solution? Today, most of the grids are working without this system. So what's at stake now? The thing is, most people, and probably all of us in this room, agree that electricity is a resource we can difficultly make without. For instance, hospitals, water treatment plants require a reliable grid. Storms and natural events are striking our grids today, and we can see that it's true more and more. Some of our overhead lines, especially in Europe, are getting older and older and need maintenance. So the world is hard, and the failure is less and less tolerated. Come on. There are a few headlines you can find on the papers, and none of us want to be in the paper this way. So the world is difficult, and not only because of the newspapers. Excuse me. Grids are evolving, and not toward an easier way to be managed. So for TSOs and DSOs, it's a double challenge. First, get an always more efficient grid. And second, it's getting harder and harder to manage. So it's clear it's quite difficult to avoid lightning strikes, storms. But one of the possibilities we have is to reduce their impact on our grids. One of the possibilities is to know when it happened. Imagine what if your dispatcher knew the fault position and its gravity 3 minutes after it appeared. Imagine your maintenance intervention team acting in knowing exactly in 3 minutes where to react. Guess what you could do if you knew that one of your assets was going to fail, and you could act before it failed. One of the opportunities to increase the grid quality is already in the TSO's substations. In fact, when a fault occurs in the grid, IEDs like protection relays and fault recorders record the data, but they look like this. They are not easy to understand and to use. What the user would like to have is this, useful information. So the question is, how can I turn lead into gold? I mean, rough data into useful information. One of the answers is AFAS, Automated Fault Analysis System. Just the first number. The studies shows that when you are using this kind of software, you reduce about 15% of the lost time for the rest of time. Let's see how it works. The way it works is not that hard. From a logical point of view, the substation and the headquarters are linked with the one. And that's all. In the substation, you've got recorders, DFR, DPR, and the idea is to go from the lightning strike to the desk. Let's say we've got fault, lightning strike, for instance. Recorders in the substation are recording the data with Comtrade files for the one who know this kind of data. The third step is done by the gateway. They pick up the data into the recorders and gather them into the substation. Next, data are pushed into the headquarters on a server. And then is coming the magic side, the expert system. He is transforming the rough data into useful information. That's nice, but not enough. The last step, of course, is to send this data to the users. And this is depending on the interest the user has in this information and the way it can be reached. Omexom is proud to propose to its customer a solution like this one. Its name is FACES. FACES stands for Fault Analysis Criticality Classification Expert System. It offers to its user a better knowledge of the network reaction and the avoidable and, of course, unavoidable stress of the grid. And this, within a few minutes, 24/7, and effortlessly. Because of the difficulty of analyzing rough data, about 95% of the faults are not analyzed on the grid. With a system like this one, all of them are taken in account. First benefit, of course, the unserved energy, because it's directly money. It's unserved energy, sometimes it's penalties, so really, this is the first lever. Within a few minutes after the fault, you have the information, the faulty line, the fault type, its position, if it's a transient or a permanent fault. And this is quite interesting. To help a bit more the dispatcher to take a decision, the faults appear on the map. And to ease them again, we show as well the lightning strikes. So if you've got fault on the position and that you've got just next to it a lightning strike, then you can say, okay, probably lightning strike problem. Of course, this is as well interesting the maintenance team because they know exactly where to act. But there is a third person interested in this. Let's see one of our customers' testimony. For this customer, we led a turnkey project from his substation to his desk. The conclusion was that half of the time, and today I think that they are going to all of the time of the helicopter used to find the faults on the grid, are now done by FACES in 3 minutes. Imagine the cost they won. The second lever is a bit long-term lever. It's how can we treat the avoidable faults? On each event, the IED reactions are compared to a set of rules. And then we are doing a report. On this report is appearing all the IEDs that have been checked when they are not compliant with your protection plan. This means that within 3 minutes, or if you want to analyze the problem a bit later, you have this. With this, your maintenance teams will no more look for the IED not working. They will know immediately where to act, which is the IED they have to check, to repair, to reconfigure, or even to replace. FACES gives the possibility as well to analyze the fault history to help maintenance management in its action plan. Let's talk again about one of our customers. They have a repetitive transient fault. Nothing critical, but anyway, a circuit breaker stress. Faces showed where, when, and what happened. So the expert had the possibility to concentrate on the why it happened. And what they realized that it was that on a specific segment of the grid, they changed one cable. And this cable didn't have the same reaction to the wind than the two others. So with the wind, they had a transient fault. They reduced the span of the two other cables and they solved the solution. No more stress for this breaker. So I could tell you a lot more about the benefits, the way it works for A-phase and especially for faces. But I think the time is nearly over. So I'm going to close this presentation. If you want to meet your challenges by improving your grid, it's not that hard. The data is already in your substations, and you just have to convert it into useful information. So, if you really want this, meet us on our booth. We will have the possibility to talk about your grid, your challenges, the key project you imagine, and we will be able to go into details and even make a demonstration. Thank you very much.